Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is something I've been anticipating for a very long time. So basically every Wednesday I'm gonna upload a new video, and it's basically gonna be like a continuation to this video. And what it's gonna be is like a story time kind of series that I'm doing about my life, things I've lived, things I'm proud of, things I'm not proud of, things I would do again, things I wouldn't do again. Basically just my life, and I'm being very open about this. I'm not lying about any of this. I'm being very truthful, and in hopes of, someone going through the same thing I went through, so that they can know that, they're not alone, because at that time I felt like I was alone, and it kind of caused it caused like a series of events that, could have been avoided if I had someone to talk to. So if you're interested to see, my story and my life and, everything that, all the crazy things that it involved, including having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, having a miscarriage, having an abortion, my family going through cancer, me cheating, someone cheating on me, just basically everything that I went through as a teenager and, up until just a few years ago. So if you're interested in hearing my story and just, grabbing some chips or a snack and something to drink and just, girl talk with me every Wednesday and just, hearing out my story, then I will see you guys every Wednesday at 7 o'clock here on my channel. And, leave some comments. I'm a huge believer of everyone having their own opinion. I don't expect for everyone to say, nice things about what I've done, because I've done some very bad stuff. I just ask for you to please respect me. If you're gonna say like, what you did is very shitty, go ahead and say that. But like, don't call me out my name. Don't be like, bitch, this, don't. It's unnecessary. And just be respectful. I've learned from the stuff I've done. I've grown from it. And I have, words of advice. I've gained stuff from it. So, if my daughter ever goes through this or my son ever goes through this, I have firsthand, advice that I can give them, solid advice. And yeah. Oh, and also guys, make sure you leave comments in every videos every Wednesday, and smash the like button. I don't want to make it seem like it's about the likes, because it's not, but I just don't, this takes a lot of effort, especially like sit down videos are so much harder to edit than vlogs, in my opinion. So this takes a lot of time, and then I have to film these videos at like 3 in the morning, because that's the time Zyla goes to sleep, and that's the only time I can get to sit down in front of the camera without interruptions. So it's a lot of work for me, and if people are not really interested in hearing my story, seeing my story, then there's not really a point in me doing this. So if you guys are ready for this, then just keep on watching. Okay guys, so when I was in 8th grade, I was kind of like not really like a late bloomer, but I didn't have like these thoughts of like, oh my god, boys are cute. I didn't start having these thoughts and feelings until I was in 8th grade. In 8th grade, I had my first boyfriend. And basically how it all went down was, one day me and my friends, we were chilling during lunch. We used to hang out in front of the student store. This was a student store where I'm at. And then you went down some stairs, and then it was like the whole school, like the lunch area and all that stuff. So we would hang out kind of like where everyone can see up to. So we'd hang out there on this little bench. And you know how back then, if you had your spot, no one would sit in your spot that was your spot. And if someone was there, show go down. Me and 3 other girls, I would always hang out there, and it was really chill. It was in the shade, bomb ass spot. One day this boy, and I remember it like it was yesterday, he was wearing a white collar shirt, some gray pants, and he had like this hair that like literally reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! It was like kind of like spiked up all full, like completely evenly. Back then Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a shit, so like I looked at this guy and I was like, damn, this guy's pretty cool. He must be pretty cool, He was walking towards us, and I noticed it. Like, how when you see someone walking and it looks like they know where they're going, and then like he was looking at us, I was like, what the heck, and I had never talked to this boy, or none of us did, so we're like, what? So he started walking towards us, and as soon as he got there, he was like, hey, and he looked at me, like directly at me. He's like, my friend told me to tell your friend what's up. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, well, why doesn't your friend come and tell my friend? Like, why does he have to send you? He's like, all right, I'll go tell him, I'll go tell him. So he left, and then he never came back. Like, this boy never came back. Well, 3 days after that, literally every single day, I would like kind of look that way. Like, kind of look that way because, you know, I was intrigued by this boy. None of us knew him. I think the thing that intrigued me about him the most was the fact that he had a shitload of moles in his face, like I did. You guys can't really see them because of all my makeup, but I have a lot of moles in my face, and you don't really see people like that. So when I saw him, I was like, damn, he's just like me. And on top of his hair being cool as fuck, like, he's just like me. You know, I would like kind of look that way, and he would kind of look this way, kind of look my way. And that's kind of what we're doing for like 3 days, up until the 4th day, which ended up being, I believe, it was like a Thursday. And he, you know, his friend started walking up the stairs, walking towards us. And he looked directly at me, and he's like, hey, my friend said, like, he said, what's up? And I was like, okay, tell him I said what's up too. And the next day, which was a Friday, he went up there, and he was talking to me. He's like, so my friend told me that you said what's up. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so what's your name? And I told him my name, even though he already knew my name, because one of my friends had told me that he had asked about me, but whatever. And he told me his name was Fidel. Weekend came, then Monday came, and you know, he went to where I would hang out, and he was hanging out with me there. And at the end of lunch, he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend. And you know, at that time, you know, you're very naive. You're like, oh, you didn't really need to know someone, especially in 8th grade. Well, I don't know if times are different, but you know, he asked me, and I was like, okay, he was cute, like, I'm down. And yeah, we were together. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we would literally hang out every day during lunch. And it was, I was feeling him, you know, I was feeling him. And that was a Monday where he asked me. And then on the Friday, he asked me that if I can meet him during lunch at some spot that you weren't really allowed to go to, but you can kind of go there before. It was like a mission to get there without someone seeing you and catching you, but once you were in there, you're like the only person in there. So he asked me if I can meet him there, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. But at the time, guys, I had 2 cousins who were in my middle school, and I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend. So like, I didn't want anyone to kind of see me like accidentally, or like, you know, catch me with him. So I was like, I'm down. But deep inside, I'm like, I'm not gonna go. And I didn't go. And then he told my friend to tell me, because him and my friend would see each other during passing period. So he told my friend to tell me, like, hey, what happened? For her to meet me here after school. And my parents were those parents. I don't know if you guys can relate or not, but literally, like, this class ended, or school ended, at like 2:40 something, and my parents were literally parked outside of the school at like 2:30, like, to find that like top-notch VIP parking so that I wouldn't have to walk. I was like, what the hell am I gonna tell my mom and my dad? Like, they're gonna be like, why is she late? Why are we here waiting? We never wait for her. So I was like, so I called my dad. I had a phone in 8th grade. I had a razor. I called him, and I was like, you know, papá, tengo que ir a recoger algo de una de mis clases, so voy a estar poquito tarde, como unos 10 minutos, ¿está bien? And he's like, sí, está bien, hija. I was like, okay. So there, I was clear with that. And, you know, I met him after school that day. Guys, I had my first kiss. It was the weirdest shit. Like, at that time, I got home, and I was like, I started like googling stuff, and I was like, why is, like, I didn't know this is the way it happened. Like, I was so used to seeing movies, and in movies, you know, they would kiss, and it was just the most romantic thing ever. And it was just so, like, so nice looking and beautiful, and just like, I was expecting it to be like that. Well, Fidel has something else in store for me. He literally like stuck his tongue in the farthest in he could. Like, it was like a race. Like, it was just the weirdest shit, and like, I was not used to it. So I was like, what is going on here? It was the most sloppy first kiss. I was just so confused, but whatever. That was my boyfriend, so I was like, it's cool, whatever. But that was my first kiss. And it was after we were together for like a week. We would hang out every day. It was all peaches and cream. It was all cool. And then this is kind of where things took a little twist. And it was, you know, one day I was coming out of school. Well, I came out of school, and usually my mom and my dad would always pick me up. If it wasn't my mom and my dad together, it was always just my mom. And when my dad would pick me up, it was always because something was going on. My mom didn't work, and so it was always her. My dad was working at the time, so when he picked me up, it meant like he got up a little earlier than he was supposed to because my dad worked in the night. Like something's wrong, you know? And he picked me up alone. When I saw him in the truck, he just looked different. There was this thing about him that just looked very, very different. And I knew something was wrong, but I kind of didn't want to think about it, so I didn't ask. I just let it go. We drove home, and it was the most quiet ride home I have ever had. When we got home, my dad sat down on the couch, and we had like we've always had the same style of couch, which is like those round couches. And my brother, my two sisters were sitting on the couch, which was really weird. You know, everyone was always in their room, and it was really weird. It was a weird situation that I walked into. And then my mom wasn't there, so I asked, where's my mom? And my dad's like, oh, she's laying down. And I was like, that was really weird. Like, my mom was those typical Mexican moms, because she was always in chinga, you know, always in chinga doing something. So I was like, okay. So I sat down on the couch as well, and then I finally said, like, what's wrong? My dad told me that they had gone to the doctor, and my mom had some tests done, and they told her that her cancer came back. My mom had been dealing with cancer on and off for as long as I can remember, and she had already been in remission, and it was just for a few years, and it was just really crazy that it fucked me up in levels that I cannot explain, just because prior to that, when she had it, I didn't really know what was going on. So I would see things that she would go through, but it wouldn't affect me. And the moment I heard this it was just crazy, and I just felt like life was fucking my whole family up in so many different ways. You know, my mom was like our rock. She did everything for all of us. She was always there. She was the nicest person ever. She was those parents, that mom that like always took care of her health and would always wear socks, and because if she walked in the cold floor, it meant that something was gonna happen to her. Like, she would shower and cover herself up right away. Like, my mom was those moms that would take care of herself so much. So then I was like, why is this happening to her? Why her? So it just, like I said, it fucked me up in so many ways, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So the first thing that popped in my head was like, I feel like I need to hurt somebody the way I'm hurting right now. The only person that I could think of to hurt was the person who seemed to care about me at the moment, which was Fidel. I went to school. I ignored him. Like, I didn't go hang out with my friends like I usually do. I shut everybody out. I would actually hang out with my teachers from here on out. I would hang out with my teachers, and I would keep to myself. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I only talked to them when I needed to talk to them, which was during class. But other than that, I shut the whole world out, literally. And I ignored Fidel. So, you know, back at that time, if you didn't talk to someone for a few days, then you weren't together anymore. A few weeks later, I actually saw him hanging out with, out of everyone he could have chose, he chose someone who I had so many issues with. Like, me and this girl had an exchange of words, and it was just really, really bad. And he was actually hanging out with her. So I felt like that was an even bigger slap to my face, because this asshole was doing this shit on purpose, and so was she. I'm like, all right, you guys don't know Velica. You guys do not know me, and you guys do not know what I am capable of. I did a lot of different, you know, fucked up shit. You know, I would talk so much shit about her. I would talk so much shit about him. My friends would kind of go along with him, along with it. We would pass notes to each other, because that's what you did back in the day. I would talk so much crap about him. He had braces at the time, so I would call him a brace face. I would say that his mouth was so fucking huge. I made fun of the way he kissed me. I talked so much shit. I talked so much shit about her. I called her so many words, like Batman. She was hairy as hell, and she had like this thing on her head that, like her hairline that kind of went down like Batman. So I would talk shit about that. I would talk shit about, she had like hair in her chin, like a I don't know what it was, like a little weird right here. I talked shit about that. Like, I like dissected these two individuals and talked the most shit I could about them. A lot of people went along with it. So leading on to that, one of my friends, I had this friend, her name was Michelle. She was like a diehard friend. You know those friends who are like, there's this girl I don't get along with, and they hype you the fuck up. They're like, you know what, we gotta go beat this bitch's ass. That's the type of friend she was. He actually went up to her during lunch, and I was kind of just there watching, and she was just talking so much shit to her. And then we had like agreed to meet up after school so we can fight, but I don't know what happened, and one of my avid teacher summons me out of one of my classes, and I went to his class, and he's like, this is what I'm hearing is gonna happen today after school. And I was like, okay. And he's like, is it true? I was like, no. And he's like, okay, well, I just need to keep you here just in case it is true. I'm gonna call your dad and have him pick you up straight from here. That way, you know, nothing happens. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want to mess up your chances and anything you have going on in life because of a fight over a boy. So he called my dad picked me up, and that was it. You know, nothing happened that day, but I was still like in my head, like, you know, I gotta get this bitch back. It was like the last few days of school. There's this girl who was like Fidel's best friend, and I knew that if I told her like, hey, let's do something, like let's not go to school today, let's skip school, let's do something, she'd be down with it. So I told her and then her friend, and they're like, let's invite Fidel. I was like, that's a perfect idea. I knew they were gonna do that. So I was like, that's a perfect idea. So they invited him, and he was like, yeah, I'm down. I knew he would be down because, you know, Fidel was sprung as fuck on Velica. You could see it in his eyes. So I was like, all right, let's do this. But this time he was still with the girl, and we went to the beach, guys. We went to Santa Monica Beach. It was the funniest shit ever because like I told you guys, I had very, very strict parents. Very, very strict parents. And that's the only way that I can kind of find a way to kind of go out with him. Because if I asked if I can go out with someone, they'd be like, no. So I ditched school. We went to Santa Monica Beach. We got the bus there. The bus stop was actually right in front of my school. And we got the bus. We had everything kind of like planned out so that we can get back on time, so that we would get back to school by the time my parents were picking me up. We got there. We went to, if you guys are familiar with Santa Monica Beach, it has like a pier. It has like the boardwalk. It's just really, it's a really, really cool beach. It was empty because it was during, you know, during school hours and people working. So yeah, we went on some rides. We played some games. We took like pictures on the little photo booth shit, and it was a fun time. Then we went to the beach and we went in the water for a little bit. While we were sitting on the sand, I asked Fidel, like, what's going on with you and this girl? And he's like, oh, that's my girlfriend. I was like, that's crazy, like that's your girlfriend, but you're here with me. And he was like, well, yeah. I was like, okay. He's like, well, how do you feel about me? He's like, well, I still love you. He had already told me he loved me. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I like you too. And he's like, so what are we doing? I was like, well, I mean, if you like me, why are you with her? And he's like, well, I'll break up with her if you tell me you'll get back with me. And I was like, okay, let's do it. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, let's do it. He said he would break up with her. Then we were on our way. When we were going back home, guys, I got caught ditching. It was the funniest shit ever because his best friend ended up getting in a fight with a bus driver. We ended up getting kicked out of the bus. We had to wait for the other bus, which was like, there was some sort of delay, and we ended up getting to school super late. And maybe like 10 minutes after school was out, one of my friends called me and was like, Velica, your dad is right here and he's waiting. Like, he's here in the office. Like, he's asking for you. And I was like, oh my god. So I already knew I was going to get in a shitload of trouble. And I did. I got my PSP taken away. I had a PSP where I would go on MySpace. I got my PSP taken away. I got my TV taken away. I got my phone taken away. It was just really, really bad. But then I found out that Fidel broke up with this girl. And as soon as I found that out, I broke every single strap of communication with him. I ignored him. I did not have anything to do with him anymore. Like, that was it. My work there was done. And that was that. Like, that was that. Summer came and left, and then I was going to high school. Me and Fidel went to a completely different high school. As a freshman, I went to Wilson High School, and it was really cool. It was fun at first, and you know, everyone seemed to like me. I was really well known because I had a MySpace. I had like 14,000 followers. Everyone knew me until this day where this girl, she was really, really big. And I don't just mean like big as in chubby, I mean like tall too. She went up to me and she said that her homegirl wanted to talk to me. I do live in East LA. The high school I went to is in El Sereno, so there was a lot of like cholas and cholos in my school, and this girl was one of them. So she said that her homegirl needed to talk to me, and I was like, okay, well, like, tell your homegirl that I hang out here during lunch. And she's like, okay, cool. So yeah, during lunch, I told my cousin, I had a cousin who was a year older than me. I told her what was going down, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna be here. She was actually 2 years older than me. She's like, okay, I'll be there so that, you know, I can back you up in case something happens. I was like, all right. So she took her friends with her, and this girl went up to me and she just told me that she had heard that I had been talking to her boyfriend. And I was like, no, I haven't been talking to your boyfriend. And he's like, that's not what I heard. Like, I saw him like some of your pictures. I was like, well, just because he likes my pictures doesn't mean I talk to him. Like, I don't talk to him. I don't even know who he is. She's like, all right, bitch, well, if I catch you doing this, I catch him liking your pictures, I'm gonna come fuck you up. And I was like, okay. I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, all right. That was it. And guys, 2 days after school, 2 days, yeah, 2 days after school, my dad would always wait for me in the front. Same thing as in middle school. He would always wait for me in the front of the school. I was waiting, and these girls started approaching me. The same girls. It was like 6 of them, and one of them had her phone, and she was recording. And they approached me, and one of them popped out a knife. And they started talking shit to me, and she started getting so much closer with the knife. And you guys want to know what happened next? You guys have to watch next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I will continue the story as to what happened and what events unfolded after that because of that. So if you guys liked today's video, this was the beginning. So the beginning was kind of a little boring. It does get a little more interesting, but I felt like I needed to talk about the moment that me and Fidel first met and how we got together and how we ended, just because it's very crucial as to what's going to happen later on. Go ahead and smash the like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you're not subscribed, guys. Every Wednesday I'm going to continue the story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So again, 300 thumbs up means that the video will be up next Wednesday. If it's not, if I don't reach a 300 thumbs up, then it'll be up the following week. So if you guys want to see it sooner, then just go ahead and smash the like button. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, hopefully. Bye.